Hello everyone and welcome to another video. It's that time again. It's springtime. It's not exactly spring here in New York, but officially on the calendar is springtime, and it is time none other than to pull out the top 10 fragrances for the spring of 2014. Now, I love doing these lists. This list is going to be the designer list. I'll have another video out next week going over the niche fragrances and my niche picks. So as with all of my top 10 videos, I like to go for a couple of ground rules and criteria. The first is that this is my list. This is nobody else's list. It's not a list that I'm recommending necessarily for everyone to go ahead and, okay, these are the top 10 spring fragrances. Because usually the type of response that I'll get is, oh, you should have included XYZ fragrance or something like that. When in reality, that I don't have any obligation to include XYZ fragrance. That's not one of my favorite fragrances. These are my fragrances that I choose. They're not magazines, they're not anyone else's, these are the ones that I choose. Alright? That's the first one. Second thing, what do I consider spring? Spring, for me, I'm of the New York temperament. So I go by the solstices and I go by the season changes. So spring for me is anywhere between usually, like, I want to say 50 degrees Fahrenheit and like 80 degrees Fahrenheit, something around like that. It's kind of raining at sometimes, you know, it's dewy, the trees are beginning to get, you know, their foliage off again, and actually they've already started getting it, but you know what I mean. It's basically beginning to really blossom and start to turn into summer. So at some days it's still a little bit cooler out, and some days it's a little bit hotter out. So you can kind of expect that dueling dichotomy right there, so that you kind of expect a fragrance to handle itself pretty decently well, whether it be, you know, in the cold or whether it be in the warm weather. But for my interest purposes, I usually kind of choose a mix between two. I choose one that'll handle a little bit tougher in the cold, and I choose some that handle better when it's hotter out on there. So that's kind of what spring means to me. Okay. So with that, let's go ahead and get on to the actual video. I want to make this short and quick. I'm going to go over most of these, if not all of these. I think I've actually reviewed on their own, except for maybe like one or two. So you can always look up the reviews for each of these individually on my channel, right? So let's start with number 10. Number 10, we have from the house of John Varvatos, John Varvatos Vintage. John Varvatos Vintage is on my list specifically for the little bit colder times right now. So for example, I'm actually wearing this today going to work. I'm actually recording this before I go to work. I'm wearing this one because it's got a little bit of a heavy tinge. It doesn't last that long, but I've also got meetings throughout the day, so I don't want it to be a huge projection monster or anything like that. But it's got the typical John Varvatos scent, like a leather, a little bit of a, I think this one has a little bit of rhubarb in it as well to kind of mix in, and gives it this nice little bit of a sweet type of a scent to it. But a very nice scent. Number 10, John Varvatos Vintage. Coming in at number 9, we have from the house of Terre Hermes, or Terre Hermes. We have, sorry, Terre Hermes. Sorry, from the house of Hermes. We have Terre Hermes. Sorry, I'm just butchering that. But either way, most people know what this bottle is, what this bottle looks like. Yeah, it's a very nice looking bottle. It's got the H for Hermes on the bottom. And basically, this one has this orange, dirty orange, earthy type of a smell to it. It's got a good sharp kick to it. This is one that I easily wear when it's a little bit cooler and needs a little bit of a sharp kick, but at the same time has a citrusy type of feel to it. That's where I reach for this little bad boy right here. Very nice. There is another one that smells very similar to this. I think it's Yardley. It's a Yardley fragrance. That smells very, very similar to this, if not almost a clone to it. Number 8, we have from the house of Calvin Klein. Yeah, Calvin Klein fragrance actually made it. It is Euphoria Intense. Euphoria Intense it does have a similar vibe to the original Euphoria, but Euphoria Intense takes a little bit more of a sweeter vibe and a stronger vibe. And because of it, this is one that I wear when it's a little bit colder out. It's probably, I would say, it's my favorite one from the house of Calvin Klein. I'm not really impressed at all with their fragrances, but for some reason this one I do like a lot, and that's why it's number 8 on my list. Calvin Klein Euphoria Intense. I've been meaning to get a review on this one out. Okay, number 7. We have from the house of Gucci. Gucci Pour Homme 2. It's the one in the blue bottle. The bottle that looks like you can just toss it and end someone's life, basically. Sharp corners, very heavy. Yes, but this one is a very nice tea-based fragrance. It's very light, very refreshing, something that I usually wear. And this one usually borders on spring, late spring, summer for me. It's one that really does well in cooling you down. It's got this cooling effect to it. There's 2 fragrances that I have on this list that really specialize in cooling down. And so for this one is one where I usually wear in those situations. But I also like to wear this one to the office because it has a very nice calming effect. And yeah, if I'm going to be in a meeting where I know people are going to be going batshit basically, then this is one that I would choose to wear just because I just like that extra little edge. Just cool people or calm people down, right? Gucci Pour Homme 2. Number 6, we have from the house of Lacoste, we have Lacoste Essential. Very nice, kind of melony type of a smell that kind of comes around to it. Very generic, but at the same time, you know, who said generic was bad? It does generic, and it does generic well on this to me, so don't take offense if you hear it being called like that. But either way, it's a very nice scent. You really can't go wrong. It's a people pleaser. It's one that smells very pleasant to almost everyone who comes in contact with it. And for that reason, this is another one that I choose to wear to work quite frequently. Right. Number 5, we have from the house of Cartier Roadster. Now this is the one that you could possibly see as well on the summer list as well, because this is a late spring, summer fragrance to me. This is the fragrance that I probably reach for the most out of all the fragrances that I have, simply because this has the most calming effect. It's a very minty fragrance. It's very spearminty, if you will. Very natural, very fresh, and because of it, it works excellent in those. Now, the reason why you don't actually see all of this gone on this bottle is because I had 2 huge decants as well for this, and that I pretty much used them all up, but this is what I got. Cartier Roadster is definitely good for that. Mint all around. Number 4, we have from the house of Christian Dior, Eau Sauvage. Yes, Eau Sauvage is one that I recently got last year, and I've been really impressed with this fragrance. I absolutely love it. Some people actually hate it, but the vibe that this gives off to me, this is one of my nice, you know, dress-up fragrances that I wear from the designer side, from Christian Dior. It has a perfect vibe for that, you know, casual sophistication, like I like to call it. And so it's perfect for those. It does have this sour note to it that I actually do like. I figured out that I actually really like sour notes in fragrances, especially citrus fragrances. They don't turn sour on my skin, but they come off beautifully off my skin, and for that, it works for me, right? Number 3, from the house of Guerlain, we have Guerlain's Vetiver. Another work favorite for me. Compliment inducer like crazy. It's a very beautiful, I don't want to say beautiful citrus because that feels like it's redundant, but the vetiver in this it's like a sweet vetiver to it. It's not a dirty, earthy vetiver to it. It's got a very sweet vetiver type feel to it, so like a root type feel, but at the same time it's still sweet, and for that, Guerlain's vetiver just really excels. It does excellent for it. Number 2, from the house of Simiake, we have l'Odyssée Pour Homme. Yes, this classic, this has been around for a long time. It's done excellent. I absolutely love it. It's got this excellent yuzu note, this basically sour orange note into it. At the same time, the citruses are sharp, lemony. This is one that you can wear year-round, and one that I do wear year-round for it. Occasionally, I'll just break it out, spritz it. That's what I get. l'Odyssée by Simiake. And number 1, still the reigning champion from the designer side for my spring fragrances, we have Allure Homme Edition Blanche from the house of Chanel. Sorry, you can't see the Edition Blanche because it's in white, and we've got the reflecting over here, but yes. Okay, there you go. Edition Blanche. Edition Blanche, this is, a lot of people, it's a very creamy citrus. Very creamy, very sensual, at the same time very inviting. Very delicious, and it's got a little bit of a sharp kick to it. The main downfall for this one is how much it lasts, but quite frankly, I don't care. I usually go nuts with this one. And here's another one that I'm probably going to be replacing with a full bottle pretty soon, right? Allure Homme Edition Blanche, number 1. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free. Send me a message, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what your top 10, top 5, or top fragrances that you're going to be wearing for this spring are. I'm always curious to know. And again, look out for the top 10 niche fragrances coming for next week. All right? Thank you. Take care of yourselves and have a great day.